that got you hooked for fucking live shows, like right out the gate, or like,
yeah,
like what was your experience like?
I was like, this is some amazing stuff. At that point, so to back it up just slightly, up until about the time I went to that show, I was like listening to just lots of rap, right? Lots of like E40, not E40, EPMD, and like and NWA, and who was that other dude? Cool Mo D, and I was listening to a lot of that kind of stuff. And then in between my 7th and 8th grade year, I went on this trip with my grandparents to Colorado, because there's like a bunch of shit had to go down. So we went on that, and when we did that, me and my brother, who were both underage, we just started taking this ranch truck that was on the property and just driving it. Like, we just, on all these dirt roads that were out in rural Colorado, we just took it because we had to like go back and forth to a couple different relatives' places, and we were just like, screw it, truck runs, let's just get in and drive. Right. And while we were doing that, there was a tape in there, and the tape was like, it was like Traffic and Led Zeppelin and Cream on this cassette tape, and we just would play it on loop as we're driving these back roads. And I remember at that point just being like, wow, this is insane. And then when I got back from Colorado, I went to my friend's house, same one that made the graphic novel about the origins of Stockton's evil.
Okay.
And when I got to his house, he had 2 bass guitars and 1 guitar at his house. And he's like, look what I started doing. I started playing music. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So I picked up one of the basses and I tried to play it. And he was like so much better than me. And so I was like, oh, I'll just play the guitar then. That's the reason. Like, I started playing the guitar because I was like, fuck, he's really good at that. And I'm not. I'm going to play that other one instead. And then from there on, I was completely hooked. It was just like music as much as I could.
So this is before the first show?
Yes.
All right.
And then we made a band.
Okay.
And we put together a really shitty band. And played got to open for like a talent show at our school or something.
All right. That's fucking dope.
It was a show, sort of. A couple of songs anyway. Garage band, yeah. It was terrible. Like, we didn't even have a real drum set.
So you're like 12 or something?
Yeah, 13, 14, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yeah, right around the same time that first show. But yeah, we put together this band, and it was like, well, you're obviously good at playing the bass, and I'm faking it on the guitar, so I don't have to look like I'm terrible at the bass. And we need some other people. So we just found some other people that they didn't play music. We just found some other people to be in the band. And
right. Fake it to make it.
Yeah, and then like garage sales and pawn shop, we pieced together a bunch of pieces of drum sets, but not a whole actual drum set. And then we just kind of made Racket, and at that time we had those tape players that had the record function on them.
Yeah.
And when you recorded stuff, you heard the motor of the recording thing loudest on the thing. So anything that you listened to, had this loudest. So we made a bunch of songs, like, because we weren't good enough to learn anyone else's songs. So we just wrote our own ridiculous songs, filled with middle school angst as lyrical inspiration. And
you were a guitar?
I was playing guitar, yes.
All right.
And that's a whole nother long story.
And the other homies? We'll come back to that at another time. Sure. About well, fuck it, we can do it now too. Like, how did you pick up guitar, bro?
Well, it was like I was saying, because I sucked at bass, and he was really good at bass, so I picked up the guitar instead. Okay. So I didn't have to feel, insecure.
No, what was the story though? Like, you were like, oh, there's another one, let's go for it.
Yeah, and it was just fun having something to do with my friend, It's like, because when you're in Stockton, you're either like walking the streets and trying not to get jumped, or you find something else to do that you might enjoy more, like hanging out in a room and playing with music with your friends.
All right.
Yeah. So it kind of stuck. Actually, interestingly enough, we never had any really good recordings of that, and I lost my cassette tape of our demo. But around that time, my brother got a Butthole Surfers record.
All right.
and it was the ESPEP record.
All right.
But he was playing it on. It was like I think it was supposed to be played at, like, either the record was supposed to be played at 45 or the record was supposed to be played at 78 or something, and we were playing it on 33. And so I remember when he was like, check out this weird band. And at that point, like, he had a half pipe.
and pretty he was much a weird band anyway.
Yes, they are a weird band, but this is the story. This is why it's great.
Okay.
So he puts this record on, and it was playing, and it was the most interesting, because we were like, punk rock kids. We were listening to all this punk rock. And all of a sudden, this Butthole Surfers record is like...
I used to listen to that shit when I would take acid, and like that was like a ritual to listen to
Butthole Surfers afterward. That sounds like a fun ritual. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, fuck, I already got my albums picked out and shit.
Yep, you're like... My night is set.
Yeah, we're gonna fucking trip balls tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so anyways, we're listening to this thing, and I remember hearing it and being like, this is so fascinating, this record. And many years later, when I didn't have access to any of this stuff anymore, I was working for this record distribution company, and we were doing licensing, and they licensed a record. I don't think it was that record. It was a different Butthole Surfers record, but they licensed a Butthole Surfers record for vinyl re-release, right?
Right. Okay.
180 gram, the whole audio file shit.
Right.
So anyway, I go into this office of this guy who's in charge of this licensing, and he's got a Butthole Surfers record, and he's like listening to it, and I'm all, hey, that's pretty cool. You're listening to Butthole Surfers, huh? And I saw them play once, too. And this is why it was so confusing for me, is because every time I ever listened to the Butthole Surfers or saw them live,
all right,
I always had the same reaction, which was, that's pretty cool, but it's not anywhere near as cool as that first record that I heard, right? And sure enough, so dudes listen to Butthole Surfers, and it just clicked, like the light bulb went off, and I was all, hey.
Oh shit, we were playing it
I was
at
like,
the wrong
were
speed.
we playing it the wrong speed? And I was like, hey, can you slow this down? And so he slowed this record down. And when he slowed it down, I was like, there it is. There's the band that I thought I heard.
Oh, fuck.
And so what I did because of that is I actually went back and I made a record, and it's on Bandcamp. And I called it, so that terrible first garage band was called The Squirrels Called Dave. So I made a record.
Shout out.
It was like an homage to this band, to The Squirrels Called Dave, and I just called it SCD. And I took all the songs that I could remember how they went, and then I set them to like doom metal riffs and played it really slow, and I did all the vocals like, like, and I did all the vocals that way because I was like, what would those vocals be like if I slowed them down? So I took all of our riffs and made them really slow, like doom metal, and I like re-recorded them.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
All right.
Yeah. jason.a.branyan.bandcamp.com. You can find SCD. It's called, so Butthole Surfers was EP. It was what the hell was it? It was like LSD EP or something like that, and I made it ESP.
Okay,
EP.
What's the Bandcamp again?
jason.a.branyan.bandcamp.
Branyan?
Yeah.
Brandon?
Branyan.
Can you spell it for the people?
Bran, like the cereal. Yan, like Yan Can Cook. BRANYAN.
Bang, bang.
It's a entertaining listen.
I can't wait to fucking hear this shit. Okay, so the band, and then we were leading up to your first show.
Yeah.
So you already were like recording?
Yes. Like terrible recordings, yes. Making terrible recordings.
Terrible recordings, and then you finally were just like, yo, we're going to go to this show.
Yeah. Because, at that point, we were not only skater kids, but we were like kids in bands now.
Yeah. So right. Now we're
graduating.
Shit. So
now we're going to shows.
Yeah. All right. And so I was asking, so that first show and like you kind of just got like hooked. Like I was asking about many memories of like how that felt your first show, and then like where it led to that. Like then you were just like fucking hooked and you want to go to shows all the time. Or...
Well, as you know, as I was saying, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen those like commercials, but there's like those anti-drug commercials. Like, this is my anti-drug.
Like fucking like with the eggs. And,
yeah, they have us. They have us. Oh like, wait, are you thinking of like this is your brain? This is your brain on drugs.
Like that stuff?
No, but
a DARE program or what are we talking
about? It's like more current than those. I do remember those. I actually remember a really funny one of those that was like on MTV way back in the day, and I think it was Gene Simmons, and he had like this like crazy like spooky mask looking thing on, and he I remember it was funny. He was like drugs make me smart, drugs make me cool, drugs make me feel good. And it was like this whole like creepy little thing. And I just remember being like, this is so fucking stupid. But anyway, later on, they had this whole different ad campaign to try to get people to not do drugs. And it was so and such as my anti-drug. So they'd like show, you know, some kid virtuoso or something playing the violin. And he's like so amazing at it. And he was like, you know, I focus on this so that I don't have to do drugs. And, you know, I think in Stockton, you need something that's not anti-drug, but you need something that's anti-violence. Like, because if you don't have something to take you away from it, then you just get really violent.
Like, if you fucking stab somebody, like,
yeah, well, I mean, it's almost a rush, idea, right? It's a rush like, for
stop
people
stabbing
there.
people up and shit.
Yeah, maybe don't kill someone today or carjack.
My sister is a nurse, and she got mad when I told her I stabbed somebody. She was like, "You could have killed that man," and I'm like, "Well, there's nothing in the papers about it." Like,
did she also give you shit about creating extra work for nurses?
No, she was just mad that I could have like hit an artery or something.
Yeah, well, you know,
yeah,
it's the streets.
Hey, I'm better now. I don't.
You don't shiv people as much.
I try not to fucking stab people.
There you go.
Because it'll piss my sister off.
That's right. You don't want to hear it from your sister. Us doesn't stab people anymore because he doesn't want to hear about it on holiday.
I'm better now.
On holiday dinners.
I'm better now. But like, okay, moving right along. Where were we at?
Well, we were talking about being hooked on music and having something to do to not go into the wrong paths, like, you know, joining.
Okay, so where did that show lead you? What do you remember the next show, or like, and then you're
the next show was a show I played.
So so how in the hell do you get booked when you're little kids? I need to hear this.
The all ages venues are generally pretty open-minded, and when you're in a place that doesn't have a lot of opportunities for live music, entertainment, things that aren't, you know, gang violence related, in a town like Stockton, there's people that are hungry to give something a chance. And the next show that I was the one that I played was that talent show I was talking about that horrible band got to play for.
At the high school, though?
It was like a middle school.
Okay, so yeah. No, I'm talking about like. All right, that explains. I'm like, how in the fuck are you getting gigs when you're little kids? But
yeah.
Okay, so after that, we're not talking about school shit.
So then I got into a different band when high school started.
So what was your next show, man? Basically, when did you go to your next show? What was your next show?
Next show was a show that I played at the Cattle Club in Sacramento.
God damn it! And you're little ass kids.
At that point, I was like 15 or 16. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, not little ass kids, but
still
still fucking young kids. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, you're underage. So you went to so you're in Stockton. You go to Sacramento.
Yeah.
And you fucking play a fucking gig, and you're like little teenage. You're underage.
Yeah. I still remember the bands at that show.
That's what I'm saying is that like. So Did they make it was like another house party? Did they
No,
make
this
you
was like
leave
one
or
of
some
those-
shit?
No, this is one of those typical.
They're like, dude, you guys can play, but you gotta fucking, you can't be here.
So they were doing like the LA thing, right? Where you gotta, it's basically pay to play. You gotta buy a
Okay.
bunch of tickets from them up
All
front.
right.
You can resell the tickets and try to make your money back.
All right.
Blah, 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 blah.
All right.
And we were like, God damn it, we're in a band and we want a fucking show. So
All right.
whatever, we'll fucking mow some more lawns, find ways to get some money, and fucking pay them for their fucking tickets and try to resell them and get our money back.
lawns for like 5 years at this time already.
Yeah, we were into it. And so we did the pay to play thing, and we sold some of the tickets, and somebody showed up. There's even a fucking VHS video of it. But yeah, we showed up, a bunch of green kids playing music poorly and having a great time and thinking that we were more than we were. And yeah, I can remember just buzzing out so hard and being like, wow, this is what I think I want to be doing. Is
Right.
fucking being in places
Like
like
the
this,
fucking goosebumps.
listening to live music, like doing this thing. Like I said, I still remember the bands. The band that played after us was a thrash metal band called Epitaph, and they were like just a standard 4-piece. But because this is like right around early grunge days. Like the guitar player was like fully like flanneled out and beanie and like looking like he was from Seattle, but the bass player was like full black long hair and like swinging it and doing the whole thing. It was a very interesting show, but they were great. I headbanged and I was way too young to even know what the fuck I was doing, so I hurt my neck. And then the headliner of this. So I don't know if you remember that whole like melding from hair bands to grunge era.
I do.
But so you remember like
I lived that.
Yeah, so you remember when Axl Rose in their first like Welcome to the Jungle video had the whole teased hair, and then the next release that it came out, he was like straight
Flat
hair
hair,
with the bandana and the thing.
Yeah.
Like so that was kind of how that night was like foreshadowing that, because the headliner was this band called Dara Wild.
All right.
And like it was so bad. It was so bad. Like the guitar player was this like, he is this guy and he was wearing this.
How did you guys do that?
Oh,
night?
I mean, we were a bunch of young kids like playing music that didn't really fit.
You were like picking on this other dude, like this other band that probably was not so good. But how did you think that you did that night?
I think that we kind of sucked it.
Like worse than them?
Well, I mean, it sort of depends on what your cup of tea was. Like if you liked kind of like rock and roll, sort of like classic rock in influenced rock and roll songs, you might have thought we were okay. We had a decent drummer. Like that's the thing with any bands, right? Like if you have a good drummer, the band sounds good no matter what everyone else is doing, because it's like, oh, there's a good beat.
Subscribe to Intoxxikated Television!
Cheers. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.